According to a report by Pew Research Center, an American think tank, India will have the largest Muslim population in the world by the year 2050. The Muslim population in India is expected to grow to 30 crore people by that year. This is a projection-based study which states that the population of Indian Muslims will overtake the total population of Muslims in Indonesia by 2050. At a time when people are speaking about Muslims being targeted, this particular report suggests that Muslims, at least in numerical terms, will increase till the year 2050.
I don't agree. मेरा ख्याल है कि इस तरह की बातें कह के माहौल को बिगाड़ने का प्रयास हो रहा है और चाहे वो अमेरिकन थिंक टैंक हो या कोई हो, ऐसा लगता है कि कहीं ना कहीं से ये स्टोरी प्लांटेड है और जानबूझ के पूरे दुनिया के अंदर जो खासतौर मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी है उसको आइसोलेट करने का एक प्रयास है.
I believe this is rubbish. I think demography and the science of demography should be left to the demographers rather than the self-appointed scientists of demography. They are simply wishing to generate more of Islamophobia, and the whole world is suffering on account of that.
To Madhav Das Gopal Krishnan on this as well. Madhav, many of course already are coming out and saying this is a planted sort of a study which is being done by nefarious purposes in mind. I won't say that right now, but the fact is this is a think tank which is largely Republican, I believe, right-leaning, and coming out with a study on how Indian Muslims will grow exponentially right now. Shades of what we saw in America for the past 3-4 years, where every other population except for Caucasians, they're expected to surpass the white population of America by the year 2050. That played out subtly in this election as well. What we can take away from this exactly, and how does it really matter at what pace that the Indian Muslims grow in a country that is completely theirs?
Well, yes, obviously one can always try and deconstruct and explain why, in fact, one particular organization is involved in this, and perhaps one will also say that at some level or the other, this just plays into the larger sort of framework of what is happening in the US. But I think this raises a lot of questions which are of a political and a politically sensitive nature in our country. For one, it is coming out at a time where there are significant state elections that are on, the last two phases of which are still left, and certainly, of course, what it does raise is important questions about, development levels of a particular community, which certainly, of course, has been a subject of a debate and discussion in the past as well. Secondly, when you look at it from the broader framework of what the central government is trying to do in terms of bringing out what they call, reforms, social reforms, particularly aimed at women, when you talk about either triple talaq or the attempts through the Law Commission of trying and bringing forth a uniform civil code, at some level or the other, those entire issues are also at some level going to be linked at, and the government is bound to come out and say that look at what an institution that has absolutely nothing to do with the government of India is talking about in terms of the actual growth of certain sections of society, and that in a sense is going to be an important part of the discourse, and is certainly, of course, at some level or the other going to raise political hackles in a huge manner with sharp reactions that can be expected from both sides. But in either case, of course, what this particular report does do is that it certainly raises an important question. Of course, different statisticians, different persons who are involved in research as far as demographics are concerned are going to have various points of view. But what we must remember is that the core issue of developmental levels of other aspects that are raised time and again, perhaps once again, all those matters which certainly are extremely sensitive nature, politically speaking, are perhaps going to be raised once again.
All right. Very, very interesting. Thank you, Madhav, for that analysis. We'll move on now.